Hi Capricorns, welcome back to my channel. How are you? Really, how are you? How are you doing? I think Mercury being in retrograde and with all of that happening, I feel like, March might have been a really, emotional time for you, or maybe a hard time for you. But now that we're moving into Aries, more planets moving, or there's more energies moving forward. Even though we do have Jupiter, we have Saturn, and then we do have Pluto in retrograde at the end of the month. But we have so much time before they do that to really assess and reassess and really start planting the seed of where we want the focus to be. Because Aries is the first zodiac sign. So he truly starts the new year. So how the focus is going to be for you, where you're going to put the focus this month. It's how, this is how this is in the areas, those areas you're really going to reap the rewards, and if you slacked somewhere, you're going to see it. This is going to come out sooner or later, like later in the year, maybe sooner in the year, depends on how important that was for you. Let's see, what did I say? The harvest. The efforts, really assessing where your efforts are, and then I'll just not too many. Like where you want the efforts to be, where you want it to go, and how you want it, for this year to go for you. Really assess and reassess. Where'd you put your efforts in? What needs to change? Is this worth it for you to go forward? Does this have a long-term potential? For others of you, I think it's a lot of it that has to do with foundations. In the beginning of the month, we still have Mercury, it's in shadow period till April 5th, and then we have the new moon in Aries, which is a beautiful time to work with setting intentions. And I think this is really speaking to that, where you really want to think about your efforts. Where did you put your efforts? Where you want to put the efforts in? Really assess and reassess. What have you been doing so far? Has it been worth it for you? Have you seen any harvest? Have you seen any rewards? Have you seen any accomplishments done in that department? And if not, redress, take a new course of action, or maybe completely drop it. It's up to you to decide what that is going to be. But really, that first of the week, it's going to be all about foundations. For some of you, it could also be something to do with homes. You might be relocating. You might be thinking about relocating. You might be thinking about buying a house. But maybe you're going to think it's like, we don't have the finances right now. But in any case, I do see a very stable home life, a really stable home life. Or maybe something that within your home are going to be triggered. Maybe you're going to be invited to parties. Maybe you're going to be invited to some sort of a celebrations. Interesting. So then we have Queen going into the next month. So you're going to have a feeling of like having a strong footing. It's almost like you're assessing. And then maybe for some of you, you're really waiting for that something to come through. Maybe you're waiting for that money, for that tax money to come through, or you're waiting for, maybe you're hoping for a certain amount to get back, but you didn't get as much, and that's going to affect your home life and then your finances going forward. Because maybe you're really planning on using that money for something very specific. And then for others of you, you might be wanting to get, maybe you're like working really hard and then you're hoping for your bosses to notice you, but it's not happening just now, and you don't see that happening. You don't see that raise coming. You don't see that promotion. You don't see that, the reward, the monetary reward that you wanted. If you're looking for an interview, I feel like this is not, the first of the month is not going to be really the month the first week of the month is not going to be the month that'll happen. You might get, I think something else is going to shift in your life, where you're really going to think about what's really important to you. What is really that you want in long-term relationships? What is that you really want in your partner as somebody that you want to spend your life with? And for some of you, it's just going to be really about community as well, where you put how much you give yourself in the community. And then going like into that second month, I feel like this whole thing, I think it's going to be a little bit draining for you. You know, I think it's going to be, I don't know, I really feel like maybe you're going to realize no matter how stable this relationship is, you know, there's still something missing. There's like, you know, with these two cards, to me, it's like, you know, you have that, you like the emotional and you also like that financial aspect in the relationship. You know, those two things are not aligning for you. But it doesn't mean that there's a breakup happening. It's just a matter of like, I think those two areas of your life are really going to need to looked at, your finances and your relationships. And relationships could be not just your love relationship, but your relationship with your parents, relationship with your siblings, relationships with your co-workers, with your friends. You know, it could also be partnerships too, partnerships where you feel like you're being taken advantage of financially. Or maybe if it's a business that you have, maybe that business is really, it could be a catering business. It could be a wedding business as well, that maybe you think that maybe you're not as getting as many clients this month too, but do not get into a negative state, because with the High Priestess, there's certain things that they're still bubbling up, but they're under the surface and not really known to us. So really go with your gut in that second month. Really go with how you feel, and then trust your intuition, trust your gut on whatever the situation calls. For some of you that are singles, you know, you might be meeting somebody with the initials B or J. For others of you that maybe you're hoping to get pregnant, and for some reason this has been coming up. For other signs, you know, and it's not happening, you might buy a miracle. You might just get like maybe a surprise pregnancy. And you might be like in just the unexpected moment that might happen. Capricorn, even though you're kind of a planner and you're really very structured, and you really have, you know, things have to be just so, and it's on your terms, on your time. But maybe this is where, you know, you're going to need to address those. You know, maybe you have to be a little bit more flexible. You have to be a little bit more understanding towards others and others' needs. Or it could be vice versa too. Maybe that's what you were lacking here. I feel like is like as strong as this foundation seems to be, there's still something missing in it. And let's see what that last part of the month brings for you. Justice. So it could be a commitment. Maybe you're really going for you know, addressing something. Wow. This is beautiful. Letting go of the past and really embracing the future, and really embracing commitment and maturity. I think for you, this is more about growing up, maturing, you know, and it's beautiful. So going into the end of the month, see, like, even though you had this like little roadblock over here, like I want to say from the 8th till the 14th or something of the month, you know, where you kind of like put in a position of maybe there's certain things that are going to happen that really going to highlight your finances, and then your way of dealing with other people, that you really going to realize that, you know, what areas need to change, what is that you're missing, what is that, you know, you can give and you are giving. And then I think a lot of stuff that will come up will require your intuition, because we have 2 2s here. Right? And then 2 + 3 = 4. So it's like, it's something you have to trust your intuition regarding a relationship and regarding a commitment of some sorts. You know, because then we have justice too. Like, where have you been fair, where you have not been fair? Like, where are these two? I feel like in this relationship, I think it's something that the scales were tipped. You know, there was not, a partner wasn't giving enough or not giving as much as the other, and then the pressure was more on another person. Even though like it is stable, and maybe it looks from the outside, it looks really stable, but it might not be so, because within the relationship there seems to be a little bit of an imbalance. So people have to speak up. So you Capricorn, it's either you or your partner, let them speak up. You know, like really speak your truth, really be honest and truthful with yourself and with others. And then we have the Emperor. The Emperor, to me, it's more like a little bit of a rigid energy, But in this case, I feel like it's really, if you're the one really feeling that you're being taken advantage of, or maybe feeling that something's lacking in the relationship, speak up. Speak up, and then really, I won't say demand, but really be confident about what is that you want. And see how they're both wearing red? It's a lot of red. It's a lot of passion. I feel like somebody's very determined. I feel like at the end, if you're going with that gut feeling, I think it's really going to be a powerful thing for you, Capricorn, where it's really, you're going to find something like a strength within you. And then see how they both holding something? I feel like it's almost like the Emperor and the Empress. But they're very logical. They're very rigid. Both of these are very I think it's like a lot of these really remind me of your cards, like of you, Capricorn. You're so always put together. You're very well spoken. You know exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it. But also like you let your mind guide your action a lot of times. You rarely go with your heart. And I think this is where this is coming from. Like you really kind of have to go now. You have to learn and going with your gut, learning with going with your feeling. Because the more you go with just, it's good to go with logic. But at the same time, sometimes it's certain things that might appear a certain way on the outside, and logically they might seem correct and they might seem just the right thing to do, but they might not be, But another thing to mention with these two, I feel like it's when we have Mercury going into Aries on March 19th, I believe, 17th. Oh, I'm sorry, April 17th. There's going to be a lot of aggressive energy. You just want to get things done. You want to accomplish things. Everybody's very direct and you make really quick decision. You want to make changes. People might be really combative and provoking, so I think this is where that like a little bit of frustration and a little bit of a tension might happen with the Emperor, where it's like you speak your truth, you speak your mind, you ask for there to be fairness in whatever situation, and then you might find that there's some resistance from other people, and maybe some people would not find it as easy to come about, or like maybe they'll not find your way. But also with the Emperor, it kind of asks you to really sit with that power, know the power of your words, know the power of what you're saying, and then believe in it. Because when you come across as really confident in what you're saying and really not wishy-washy about things, that's when you get things done. And then with the justice tipping the scales in your favor, right? But also be mindful of not to come across too cold and too rigid, because once we get out of Venus in Pisces and we're moving into Venus in Aries, again, this is takes no prisoners, almost like very direct, sometimes can be really, really rude, and then but not complex as well, so it's like speak your mind, know what you want. Well, the Emperor is really knowing what you want as well, and then kind of going for it, but going from a place of the gut feeling, really like going from that within, from the subconscious, and really listen to that subconscious, because it's some of this, like logic is helping you and helped you. I think now it's more of a time to really let go, like loose a little bit, stop being so rigid. Stop being so rigid. For others of you might meet your match. You might really meet your match at the end of the month. Somebody that's really going to be as truthful, as honest, and as straightforward as you are. Somebody that's going to be as level-headed as you are. You're really meeting your match this month, too. I think it's really going to happen. And then because you realize that something hasn't been tipped off, and then once you speak your mind and once you go with that, like really dig deep and then bring whatever you need to be addressed to the surface, like you find that maybe the person was sharing the same emotions, same feelings, even though this is not a feelings card, it's like really mind over heart and over body and over soul. But you will meet your match. I think there's going to be maybe at the end of the month too, aside from the relationship part, I think maybe there's going to be some confrontation with your bosses. So really be careful about that, because there's, you know, especially with the Page of Pentacles and the 7, we're like kind of harboring that feeling of like maybe unfairness, or maybe like working too hard but not being rewarded for that work. Then you might be inclined to say something to address it, but you might, you know, meet some opposition, and also a very strong opposition. So really be careful how you adjust those things. But to really end the month, we have the 6 of Cups in reverse, and then the 10 of Pentacles. I feel like you're growing. I really feel like you're maturing. I think financially you're getting into a really positive place. I think for some of you, it's like kind of letting go of some things from the past, and letting go of maybe that naivete that you had about a certain situation, and you're really moving forward of like more stable, more really like rooted, very rooted into what you want, and you know, like you're building a really strong foundation now, you know. So that's why, like with this, it's like I think you're letting go of that, not innocence, because it's not about that, but it's more about, you know, that childish behavior that you might have you know, had for a few months, or maybe, you know, in certain circumstances, maybe that's where you were having that particular, you know, attitude. But it could also maybe mean that you have to let loose a little bit, you know, with having these 2 very rigid cards, very, you know, like logical cards, and having these 2, maybe it's time for you to really let go and let loose a little bit. Have fun, you know, have a little bit of fun, but also don't forget your responsibilities, right? So let me pull some oracle cards. Yeah, I think for you it's foundations around this time. Foundations, it's going to be really, with these 2, it's you either meeting your match, or there'll be some tension between you and your bosses, you know, or somebody that's in a higher position than you are, that it's been kind of bubbling and coming to the surface for a while now, you know. And let's see. Fertility and renewal. You know, the spring is coming, and you feel like that's where you want to, you know, like you want this harvest to happen. You want this you know, you want to like already you have the fruits of your labor seen, and you already kind of want to taste them. But it's coming. It's coming. It's slowly coming. So know that. Then we have Beaver, Trust, and Home. And then, you know, this is really, it's about your foundations. And then with the High Priestess, and then this card, we have, you know, the High Priestess, it's all about that intuition. Like I said, trust your gut. And then with the Beaver too, and Beaver really, what does he do? He builds dams. He works on that foundation, right? So then with the High Priestess, is asking you to, you know, think from like an inner side of you on what you want that foundation to be, and, you know, and what is that you want. Now, to finish up, we have Anger and Spite. With I'm coming back to these 2, you know, Scorpio. You might be stung by a Scorpio this month. Maybe your boss is a Scorpio. Your boss might be an Aries. But really, it's like, don't let your anger get the best of you. You know, again, having Mercury in Aries, or having Mars in Gemini, very scattered energy, and also very aggressive energy. You know, like it's going to be really easy to say something where you, you know, least expect of being triggered by something, and then provoked by something in the split of a second. So really, really be careful about that, and really be careful of, you know, like things from the past triggering you, you know, and things have to do with your home environment, your family environment too, because they might be maybe in your family that something, like it could be siblings, it could be parents, it could be you know, you name it, something that might be triggering you, that maybe it's something that you were working on for a while to get a change happen, but it wasn't happening. So you like, you know, that triggers something, and it's like, oh, when is this going to happen? You know, but know that it is. But let me pull one final card because I don't want to end it on that. Diplomacy and kindness. What we just talked about, you know. Watch your words and watch your reaction. Really, really watch it. But know that you're protected. Know that, you know, things are still working for you, and you have like the armadillo has that like really strong shell that's like an armor for him. You know, that's how your really like your mind is your armor. You know, with the justice, your mind, you know what fair is fair, and then you know when to ask it. So Capricorn, I think it's going to be an intense month for you. I won't lie. It's going to be really, you know, a very thoughtful month for you. So I hope you're going to have the opportunities to really dig deep and to really look at areas where you need to make that change, areas where you are triggered, areas that, you know, where you've been putting effort in but you haven't seen the rewards paying off, and then asking for what you deserve, but asking it in a very polite, professional manner too. So I'll leave you with that, Capricorns. I wish you a great April. If this reading resonated with you, please like the video, share, and subscribe so other people can see this video, maybe get some benefits from hearing the messages. So that's it for now, and I will see you in May. Bye, Capricorn.